Wow. That's all I can say. Just wow. The second episode of Secret Invasion, entitled Promises, contains some of the worst quality writing of a TV show I've ever seen in my life. I'm not exaggerating, and I want to make it clear, I truly wanted to like this show. I wanted this to be good. If it was good, I would be singing its praises right now. Episode 1 was awful, and this second episode is shockingly abysmal. I cannot believe some of the things that were said in this episode. And when I sat down to watch it, all I was thinking was, how many times is Nick Fury going to be insulted and berated and condescended to and told he's past his prime and not up to the job anymore? Well, this week, he's told that it's basically all his fault. Nick Fury is repeatedly scapegoated and blamed for the bombing that happened in Moscow at the end of episode 1, which makes absolutely no sense. The bombing that he tried to stop. First off, I'll say I wanted this show to be serious in tone, because the likes of the Ant-Man films and the recent Thor films, these were becoming borderline self-parody filled with goofy, cringe Marvel humour that's been really letting the franchise down of late. So I can say yes, it's good that Secret Invasion doesn't contain the trademark cheap gags of the MCU, but unfortunately the show also lacks fun, heart, humanity, character, and excitement. The odd tension-breaking joke here and there would be fine, but there's just no banter or chemistry between the characters. The characters are needlessly antagonistic and argumentative towards each other. It's like watching Star Trek Discovery or Picard seasons 1 and 2 in terms of tone. The world presented in Secret Invasion is bleak, dark, dreary, lifeless, and uninteresting. The plot about a secret invasion of shape-shifting aliens should be filled with intrigue and suspense, but there's absolutely zero sense of urgency or direction to the plot. The main villain is Gravik, and he's just an arbitrary bad guy. Fury met him when Gravik was a boy, and in the intervening years, Gravik felt abandoned and let down by Fury, and so he decided to become a terrorist and take over the world, because reasons. What a garbage motivation. This whole story about the Skrulls feeling let down by Fury, it feels kind of similar, same energy as how the Romulans felt betrayed by Jean-Luc Picard in season 1 of Star Trek Picard, blaming him for everything despite the fact that it wasn't his fault that Starfleet wouldn't provide him with the ships he needed for the relocation effort. The contrived antagonism towards the protagonist, in this case Nick Fury, just further serves as an excuse to insult and blame him for everything, grinding him down and making him feel guilty for not being absolutely perfect. The Skrulls get to live in secret and in peace on Earth for decades, but that's not enough for them. Because they haven't gotten their ideal new home planet, they decide to go mental and start following a madman and killing innocent human beings. Why? Talk about poor motivations. The episode opens with a flashback to some scenes from Captain Marvel, the movie, minus Carol Danvers, and then there's a new scene based in 1997 with some decent de-aging CGI of Samuel L. Jackson once again. He's asking Skrulls to live on Earth in human form and work for him, helping to keep the world safe while he and Carol Danvers try to find them a new home planet. The action then flashes forward to present day, after the bombing in Moscow from the previous episode, where Gravik shot Maria Hill dead. Talos and Fury escape on a train and have a needless argument, falling out over basically nothing and going their separate ways. Feels like it was written for some contrived conflict. And then we get the first bit of kick Nick Fury when he's down. He meets the late Maria Hill's mother. Hill's remains are being transported back to America. So the lady asks how her daughter died, and Nick explains she died in the attack on Moscow. A trap was set for Fury. She then proceeds to scold him.
So, you're the reason I'm taking my daughter back home in a box.
You're the reason I'm taking my daughter back home in a box. This is some of the dumbest writing I've seen in a long time. Deliberately designed to continue to bash on the character of Nick Fury. What an utterly stupid character this person is. Nick Fury isn't the reason her daughter is dead. Both he and Maria Hill tried to stop a terrorist attack. That was the nature of the kind of work that Maria Hill did as a secret agent. and presumably her mother knew this. Maria is dead because Gravik took Fury's form because he's an alien shapeshifter and then shot her dead. She knew the risks and she willingly took the job. She died during the events of a terrorist attack that resulted in the deaths of thousands of innocent people. The writers are doing everything in their power to rag on Nick Fury by making it seem like everything is his fault, even if it means that characters have to say stupid, illogical, ridiculous things like this woman just said to him.
I don't know what Maria died for out there.
Is this character deaf and stupid? She knows about the attack in Moscow. The world knows about that terrorist attack. It's major international news. Fury has just told her that her daughter died during that attack and that she was trying to stop it. What kind of writing is this? This is truly appalling. She died trying to save people's lives. In an effort to create an excuse to insult and berate and give the character of Nick Fury a dressing down at any available opportunity, the writers have compromised the quality of the writing so much that characters are behaving in utterly ridiculously unbelievable ways and saying the most absurd things. The constant scapegoating of Fury is just so tiresome, it means that it's hard to relate to characters that are behaving in such idiotic ways. Hypothetically, imagine someone you loved was murdered, heaven forfend. Let's say they were stabbed and they were rushed to hospital and the doctors did everything they could to save them. But the person died of their injuries. Now who do you blame? The knife-wielding maniac? Or the doctor who tried to save them? Well, by the mental gymnastics logic of Secret Invasion, if the doctor's name is Nick Fury, then the doctor gets the blame, not the man with the knife. So let's just forget that Gravik took out a gun and shot Secret Agent Maria Hill dead. The rest of the episode is so utterly uneventful and lifeless that I once again found myself pausing it and going and doing other things and then coming back later on. Gravik has now managed to take over the Skrull Council, and can I say that this villain, played by Kingsley Ben-Adir, just seems bored or something. He has this constant disinterested expression on his face. Oh, and before I forget, there was one other insult said behind Fury's back by Gravik. There's a scene in a car where he's speaking to Gaia, and he says he wanted to see Fury in Moscow because he wanted to see how much of him was left. Just vapors. Old. He says he could have killed him if he wanted, but you don't punish a man by giving him what he wants. Suggesting Fury wants to die? What? We learn that Gravik is having some scientists build some kind of device, and Gaia discovers some kind of experiments involving harvesting DNA samples from other beings, including Groot. I guess some of his roots have been left behind. There's a scene where Olivia Colman's character of Sonya Falsworth tortures one of Gravik's men. It's really graphic and disturbing. She even cuts one of his fingers off. She seems to be playing this creepy, psychotic Mary Poppins type character. And then there's another ludicrous scene with James Rhodes and Fury in a restaurant. Fury tells him he tried to stop the attack, and Rhodes sarcastically says, "Well, excellent job at that, by the way. 2,000 dead so far, number probably triple once they clear out the rubble," meaning you not only set the stage for World War III, but you simultaneously flipped all of our allies to Team Russia. What? This is immensely stupid writing. Why is Fury being blamed for a bombing he tried to stop? He was fighting to stop alien shapeshifters, I want to emphasize again, who can appear as anyone from detonating a bomb. And the purpose of the terrorist attack was to try to start World War III. How are the actions of the villain somehow the fault of Nick Fury? He failed and he lost his best friend in the process. What is this level of antagonism from Rhodes? It's once again just like the completely arbitrary argument with Talos on the train. It's contrived conflict once again to generate drama and tension that isn't there. Later in the conversation, there's a cringe moment where Fury says to him, "Men who look like us don't get promoted because of who our daddies know. Every ounce of power we wrestle from the vice grip of the mediocre Alexander Pierces who run this world was earned in blood. So let's make the power mean something. Help a brother out." Why did this have to be made about race? Cringe. Anyway, Rhodes fires Fury for absolutely no reason. It just comes out of nowhere. Nothing about this development makes sense. The argument is just wafer thin. It's very hard to connect and care about characters that are saying and doing things that have zero logical consistency behind them. You wouldn't fire an asset like Nick Fury, with his decades of knowledge and experience. And he hasn't done anything to warrant being fired, especially after recent events. This man has worked alongside the Avengers to save the planet multiple times. And because he failed to stop a terrorist attack in Moscow by some shape-shifting aliens who can make themselves look like anyone, he's been sort of blamed for the terrorist attack, like he's the scapegoat, for reasons that make no sense, and he's now being fired. There's just absolutely no sense nor meaning behind the plot of this episode. The only good thing about this scene was that, at the end, Fury broke the security guy's hand on the way out, and he told Rhodes, "I'm Nick Fury, even when I'm out, I'm in," which I think would make an awesome answering machine message, let's be honest. Fury drives off and goes home to a Skrull woman who assumes human form, and it turns out it's his wife. The episode ends. Thankfully, there's just 4 episodes left. This show is terrible. There's no banter, no wit, no levity, no intelligence, no substance, no rhyme or reason. The atmosphere is almost dystopian, and the characters are all one-dimensional and difficult to relate to or care about because they're so stupid and poorly written. I just cannot believe how much the writers are going out of their way to undermine Nick Fury. The whole broken down hero trope we've spoken about before, but he really has been turned into a punching bag at this point. So that concludes this video. I hope you appreciate I'm taking one for the team here by watching and reviewing this crap, so you don't have to. If you'd like to support my work, please do so via the link below to my subscribe star. It's very much appreciated. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.